Greetings, Earth Explorers. Welcome to X Squared Radio. I'm your host, Brooks Agnew, coming to you live from an undisclosed location east of the Appalachian Mountains. This is where the past meets the future. In here, the results are always positive, in as much as we can make them positive. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. So I have a lot of stuff tonight. My guest is going to be Julian Forrest. He is a neoclassical guitarist. We're going to play some of his stuff tonight. I'm sure you will enjoy it. I do. And my co-host, Suzanne Ross, is going to come on in about 45 minutes. In the meantime, I will have some news. And one of the things that I love to do, as you know, if you listen to this program very long, we've been on now, we're in our 15th year. And this is the number one talk radio program on Sunday nights in America. And we are live. And you can call in. This is a live call-in show. And the call-in number is 213-233-3998. 213-233-3998. I love to watch movies, and so I'm going to give you an analysis tonight, because Marvel, the franchise, was infiltrated this weekend by social justice warriors. Comic superheroes were created for one purpose. A lot of you don't know this because you weren't around when comics were invented. But, you know, Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, and most of the other beings with powers were established with a common theme. In a word, it was truth, justice, and the American way. They were brought to life because the writers tapped into the prayers of hundreds of millions, perhaps billions of people, for someone to come and save them from global oppression and evil. Now, for the ancients, it was the Savior in some form or another. For post-World War II humanity, it turned out to be superheroes. Because, you see, for thousands of years, it was the monarchs and the emperors of the world who crushed hope out of everyone and out of every human flower. It was the Romans, the Muslims, the British, and dozens of communist dictators of one brand or another that could not be fought by mere mortals. It took someone super to stand up to the arch enemy of humankind. And this weekend, one of the most successful franchises in motion picture history was infiltrated and totally hijacked by the same globalist powers seeking to destroy America for more than 240 years. I'm talking about the big screen production of Captain Marvel. Now, Captain Marvel is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. The original character was created by writer-editor Stan Lee, who'd recently passed away, and it was designed by artist Gene Colan, and first appeared in Marvel's Superheroes in December of 1967. The character debuted during the Silver Age of comic books and has many appearances since then, including a self-titled series, the second volume of Marvel Spotlight series. Captain Marvel was ranked 24th in IGN's list of the top 50 Avengers. Yeah, 50 Avengers. And has it appeared in television series and also in video games. Now, here's the story of where Captain Marvel came from. The Kree is a highly advanced race of aliens whose first encounter with humans begins with Captain Marvel being sent to spy on Earth and decide if we were a threat to the Kree Empire. Now, he adopts the identity of a recently deceased scientist named Walter Lawson, but occasionally dons his Kree military uniform to protect the people he's observing. The first time he does this, the people hear him incorrectly pronounce his name as Captain Marvel. His job is made difficult by his jealous commanding officer, Colonel Jan Rog, his growing affection for humanity, and his fake identity's criminal past. Also, aiding humanity several times, Mar-Vell is found guilty of treason against the Kree Empire and sentenced to death by firing squad. Again, you have the theme of an oppressive government demanding compliance with their policy of hatred and genocide. Mar-Vell escapes in a stolen rocket but becomes lost in space. After drifting for 112 days, he's weak and he's on the verge of madness. He is manipulated by Ronan the Accuser. You know who he is. Remember that? Ronan the Accuser? You didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy? Okay. Anyway, and Kree Minister Zarek into helping them overthrow the Supreme Intelligence. Now, to better help them, Mar-Vell is given a new costume and enhanced abilities. After the conspiracy is foiled, Mar-Vell tries to return to Earth, and on the way, he's hit by a blast of radiation that traps him in the negative zone. Let me ask you, Earth explorers, do you feel like you are alive and trapped in the negative zone? Yes? Now, do you see how this comic hero became so popular with readers worldwide? You see, the Supreme Intelligence enables Mar-Vell to telepathically contact Rick Jones, which he uses to lead Jones to a set of nega-bands at an abandoned Kree base. When Jones puts on the bands and strikes them together, he trades places with Mar-Vell and is encased in a protective aura in the negative zone. The pair discover that they are able to maintain telepathic contact. Now, using this method, Mar-Vell can remain in the positive universe for a period of 3 hours. By the way, Captain Marvel is a male action figure. But that all changed this weekend with the intersectional feminist superhero with a new arch enemy: men. A film review site Rotten Tomatoes shows that only 36% of the audience liked Captain Marvel, compared to 81% of the professional critic class who liked it, of course. Now, Rotten Tomatoes even tried to rig the review numbers by shutting down movie reviews until the film came out. Captain Marvel producers hijacked the awesome CGI and scoring powerhouse of the franchise to pack the film full of social justice themes. Americans are the prime creative market for the entire comic genre. But star Brie Larson claims her acting in the movie is her activism, and she declared the movie to be about intersectional feminism. Larson also kicked off promotion by complaining about all the movie critics being overwhelmingly white men. For the first time in comic history, the color of a person's skin and gender as a personal choice was weaponized. There's one thing the producers did not calculate: history. Comic fans are overwhelmingly conservative. We're freedom-loving people who value liberty above everything else. As Captain America would say, and his image is right behind me on the shelf, right there, freedom isn't free. Somebody has to fight for it. I told you many times on this program that the globalist syndicate is wealthy beyond compare. They are ruthless, and they are merciless, and they hate you. They are spending their money in 4 areas to enslave you and rob you of your liberty: propagandist education, engineered entertainment, like Captain Marvel, oppressive legislation, like H.R. 1, we're going to talk about that tonight, and terroristic litigation. What we need is the real Captain Marvel to return and to defeat the evil globalist syndicate. One thing is for sure: mere mortals are no match for them. And that's my movie review for tonight. So interesting things going on around the planet. North Korea has actually escalated its rhetoric following reports of new nuclear activity. The rhetoric follows numerous reports this week that North Korea has begun new activity to bolster its nuclear weapons program, not scale it down. The ill-boding moves of the South Korea military authorities and U.S. are a wanton violation of the DPRK-U.S. joint statement and the North-South declarations in which the removal of hostility and tensions were committed to. That's what the North Korean news was saying. You guys didn't back off the way you said you were going to back off. You haven't lifted the sanctions the way you said you were going to lift them. And so why in the world would we give up our nuclear armaments? That's basically what they're trying to say. Now, citing new details from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, reported earlier this week, NBC said North Korea was rapidly rebuilding its Sohae satellite launch facility and showed activity that is consistent with preparations for a test. Keep in mind that that's NBC. You can't believe a word they say. None of that is corroborated or backed up by any factual evidence whatsoever. While some applaud the increased dialogue between the U.S. and the notoriously isolated kingdom, Trump has come under criticism for organizing such a high-profile summit with Kim without a clear mandate for what they could accomplish. We see that's the difference between the Trump administration and all other administrations. Sort of like when you're trying a case. If you're a lawyer, you know all about this. You never, ever ask a question in court that you don't already know the answer to. All you're trying to do is run the play so that the jury knows what you know. And that's the difference between Trump and all other presidents. Trump doesn't know. Trump is honest and gives the world the chance to see the negotiations unfold live. And our president did the right thing by walking away. Because quite simply, what little Kim tried was you lift all the sanctions and let our country eat again, and then we will sit down and talk about denuclearization. Well, obviously that doesn't work for the free world, so we decided to walk away. And that's basically the end of that. Oh, by the way, there's a rumor out there. Excuse me while I take a sip of my wonderful ice-cold grapefruit juice. Luke Perry. I liked him at 90210. I liked him in The Fifth Element. You remember that Fifth Element? Little part in the very beginning. He actually dies in the beginning of the movie, but yeah, he plays the archaeologist's assistant, right? Yeah, he has the little broomstick Mauser in his hand. Yeah, that was Luke Perry. Anyway, the rumor is that Luke Perry died after a pneumonia vaccine. And there was a Facebook post and a bunch of other stuff that went out. It's not true. Okay, the post caption, in case someone was wondering, displayed what appeared at first glance to be an article reporting Perry was hospitalized due to a vaccine-related illness. Turned out to be the pneumonia vaccine. Well, The original search string was visible in the post: Luke Perry, stroke, pneumonia, vaccination. The last word, vaccination, was actually cut off. Well, in an attempt to retrieve the same result, analysts searched Luke Perry, MyFox8, pneumonia, vaccination. And guess what? Yeah, different return. What actually happened was this, and this is in Google. Actor Luke Perry suffered a massive stroke on ... Actor and bodybuilding legend hospitalized after pneumonia vaccination. As far as I know, Luke Perry was not a bodybuilder. In fact, I don't think he ever lifted much of anything. He was kind of scrawny. I guess, I don't know. Girls like scrawny guys. That's okay. But Perry was indisputably a heartthrob and has been since he was first introduced to teenagers in 1991 as the intriguingly troubled Dylan McKay on Beverly Hills 90210. So when you click on the same article, seen both in the poster and the search results, it actually turns up that it was not Luke Perry at all. It was Lou Ferrigno. He is out of the hospital after a vaccine shot for pneumonia left fluid in his bicep, this muscle right here. Of course, his is much bigger than mine, although mine's not too bad. Anyway, in a follow-up post, he told fans that he was out of the hospital in time to make it to an event where he posed for pictures with actor Dolph Lundgren. You remember him, don't you? Rocky V, the big guy. I will destroy you. That was Dolph Lundgren. Anyway, representatives did not immediately respond to a request for additional details. According to the piece, Ferrigno was given a pneumonia vaccine and was subsequently, but briefly, hospitalized for fluid in his bicep. That's where the story came from. Luke Perry did not die from anything other than an early 50s stroke. He was 52 years old. By the way, I will tell you that strokes are difficult to predict. They occur for a variety of reasons. They can occur because you are taking things like Lipitrol. Lipitrol is supposed to lower your cholesterol, but it also runs other risks. All these drugs run risks, okay? And some of the risks, especially for mid-50s, early 60s people, is stroke and heart attack. You got to keep yourself in good shape. If you don't keep yourself in good shape, and by the way, it gets harder, okay? When you're young, like you're 18 or 19 years old, and you're on the track team, you could go out and party, you can drink, and you can get a terrible hangover and feel terrible, and guess what? Boom, that body bounces right back again like nothing ever touched you. You might even be able to smoke cigarettes for years and not have it even affect you. Smoke other things and not have it affect you. But when you hit your 50s, something happens to the biology. The physiology just doesn't quite bounce back the way it used to. We don't do hangovers anymore. We don't get stoned or anything like that anymore because it takes much longer to recover. That Friday night binge still's there on Monday morning when you got to go to work and actually function. So the other thing that happens is if you are used to going to the gym, twice a week and maybe walking around the block or playing golf or whatever, that doesn't work anymore. Now you have to go to the gym 3 times a week, minimum 3 times a week, usually 4 times a week. And I mean lots of reps, not a whole bunch of, heavy weights, but lots of reps, lots of cardio. And if you miss a week, you slide back 3 weeks. You got to start over again. All your endurance is gone. Your strength is cut in half. Sorry, guys, that's just the way it is. So strokes are hard to predict, and you got to keep good care of yourself. Keep your blood pressure under monitoring. When it gets up real high, like 250 over 150, you're running a big risk there. You're going to pop a vein in your head and you're going to go down like a sack of potatoes. The other thing that can occur are what are called aneurysms. Aneurysms can occur in a couple of places, in the base of the neck, here or here. If it happens on your left-hand side, you're probably going to lose the use of your right hand, your right eye, and the ability to speak. That's usually what happens. The other kind of aneurysm is on your aorta. That is a artery that goes right across right here, behind here, okay? And if you get a hernia on your aorta, it's like a bubble that sticks up on your aorta. You get some high blood pressure and you get some fairly, heavy activity that comes on pretty quickly, like, well, we won't talk about that on this program, but that aneurysm can burst. If it does, you're not going to make it 2 steps. You're down. Now, when it comes to heart attacks, it's a little bit different. Heart attack at 50, you're going to die, more than likely. Heart attack early 60, 50-50. Heart attack at 70, about an 80% chance you're going to survive. Why is that? Because as you grow older, those blood vessels that are around your heart that get clogged, the body will begin to build new blood vessels around the blocked ones. And that's why older people can have 3, 4, 5 heart attacks and survive. And there are a variety of things that you can have done. You can have stents put in. You can have the cholesterol pulled out of your arteries, which is a good temporary fix for 3 or 4 years. If your body doesn't assimilate cholesterol very well, it's going to catch up with you eventually. So let's talk about in the last 4 minutes of this beginning segment. And by the way, I have to apologize to my YouTube fans because we have produced all new bumper music. It's good. It works. It's not copyrighted. It's totally royalty free. And it's supposed to be working tonight, but it isn't. Which means every single time we go to a news break, I have to disconnect from YouTube. Otherwise, they flag the video. So for 3 minutes, I'm going to hold my breath and we're not going to do anything. And then after 3 minutes, we're going to restart YouTube. And that's why you see 6 segments every single week. Sorry, but that's the YouTube world we live in. Until we get the bumper music up, that's the way it is. Those of you that are listening by radio and by internet, you don't have to worry about it. We're going to stay contiguous all the way through for 3 hours, and we are live, and we will take your phone calls. And in the next hour, we are going to have neoclassical musician Julian Forrest. I promise you, you're going to like this. I'm going to play some of his music. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy him. And, of course, Suzanne Ross is going to join me from the Beyond the Matrix Unity event, which is going to take place on the 19th and 20th next week in Sedona, Arizona. Don't worry about it if you can't get a plane ticket. Don't worry about it if you can't get a hotel because the whole city's sold out probably by now. You can watch it. You can watch it because we're going to stream it live. My great friend Doc Skinner is going to come down from the northern part of Arizona, and he is going to film the whole thing, and you can watch the whole thing both days for $77. What a deal. I'll tell you, this technology just blows me away. All you have to do is go to xsquaredradio.com, click on the events tab on the left-hand side. I know it's all backwards here on YouTube, but on the left-hand side, you'll see a little button that says Events tab, and you click on that, and it will open it up, and you can register. You can sit at home in the rain, in the snow, in your basement, whatever, and you can attend 2 amazing days with great speakers, great musicians, and great content. You know what's going on, right, on the planet? No. I'm reading the chat room, and there are other things coming. It's not global warming. It's just not global warming, okay? While the fake stream news tries to fabricate a world of despair and misery by turning everyone into victims, the love energy is fighting back. It is. The hate-filled globalists are trying to make every American grow old and die. Well, Americans are persisting with love. Why? Because they listen to this station. They listen to Truth Frequency Radio. The earth right now is on full display in the face of this evil. And you want proof? I got you proof. It started with the desert lilies in December. Since then, a wave of wildflower blooms has been crescendoing across Southern California's Anza Borrego Desert in a burst of color, so vivid it can be seen from mountaintops, from airplanes, thousands of feet above. If you're flying this week, look out the window, and you'll be stunned at the visual display of beauty beaming off the planet. I'm going to cover more of this when we get back. You YouTubers, I've got to disconnect. I'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away. More X Squared Radio coming at you.